Well, good morning, everyone. I want to thank you for your attendance and thank you for your flexibility as we had to transition from Gordonmore Park to this location due to the weather that we really did not anticipate. But I just want to thank all the media representatives here for your attendance at this press conference today. I know there are a lot of questions and concerns about the mine subsidence, which has caused this massive sinkhole in Gordonmore Park. We understand the importance of providing detailed and accurate information as New Frontier Materials and the Mining Safety and Health Administration continue to investigate this incident and collect the necessary information to determine our path forward. Now let me say as a caveat, that's a lot to say Mining Safety Health Administration. So going forward, I will say MSHA, kind of like OSHA. So that way you'll know what know what that means. So MSHA is the Mining Safety and Health Administration. So first of all, I want to provide a timeline in regards to the mine subsidence and the sinkhole occurrence. At 4:30 a.m., New Frontier Materials detected the first signs of mine subsidence and properly initiated their safety policies and procedures to address the situation. 7:30 a.m., a call was made to New Frontier Materials senior management team to report the signs of subsidence in the mine. Senior management immediately assigned New Frontier Materials employee to proceed to Gordonmore Park and clear the park and monitor the park for public safety. 8:30 a.m., New Frontier Materials senior management conducted an on-site inspection traveling underground to assess the situation. At 9 a.m., New Frontier Materials contacted MSHA to report the incident and seek assistance. Then at 9:18 a.m., the mine subsidence escalated to a collapse in the soccer field at Gordonmore Park, which created a massive sinkhole. MSHA then issued a 103K order taking control of mine operations and implementing accident and rescue recovery operations, which is their standard protocol. Now, we recently received information from Congresswoman Nikki Bazinski's office concerning MSHA's preliminary findings concerning the mine subsidence. MSHA determined the cause of the mine subsidence was buildup of mud and other sediment in an ancient cave in the mine, which eventually collapsed, creating the sinkhole. A final report will be issued at a later time, as this is still a fluid investigation. New Frontier Materials has been conducting drill testing procedures to determine what other areas adjacent to the sinkhole could be subject or prone to collapse. MSHA approved this drill testing procedure. MSHA determined that this mine subsidence was an anomaly event, and it was difficult for New Frontier Materials to have predicted a sinkhole like this. Also, MSHA conducts quarterly examinations of the mine 4 times a year, showing up unannounced. The last unannounced inspection was on May 4th of this year, and the interior of the mine passed the inspection with only 4 non-serious related safety violations discovered. MSHA reports that remediation of the sinkhole will have to be conducted through the city and or New Frontier Materials upon completion of the MSHA review. There is no definitive timeline for the completion of this review at this time. This event has caused major disruptions at the park, which remains closed to the public until further notice, with all activities on hold. We are acutely aware of the ripple effects of this event on our community, both in terms of public use and economic impact. This event has affected not only the everyday enjoyment of our beloved park, but also the broader economic activities tied to it. The temporary closure of Gordonmore Park impacts a variety of community activities and local businesses, families, children, young adults, and seniors who regularly engage in activities like pickleball, softball, football, and soccer are experiencing significant disruption. This impact extends to our local sports tourism, such as the Alton River Dragons baseball team, the Central Illinois Cougars football team, and the Spencer T. Olin Community Golf Course. The activities of these organizations bring visitors to the city, benefiting our restaurants, hotels, and other local businesses. The possible reduction in outdoor sports tourism revenue can be a substantial blow economically, particularly affecting our Park and Recreation Department. As we are working to secure the physical infrastructure of our park, we are also focusing on the financial health of the city. We are equally committed to ensuring the economic stability and vitality of our community. We will continue to work diligently with all that have been affected and the organizations that have been affected by this incident and safeguard our community and our economy. In conclusion, our number one priority remains the safety and well-being of our community. The City of Alton will continue to work with New Frontier Materials, MSHA, and other experts to ensure that the park is thoroughly inspected and remediated to the highest standards. As we move forward, we will continue to prioritize the utmost safety in our plans and in our actions. Thank you once again for your attendance at this press conference. I also want to thank the offices of Congresswoman Nikki Buzinski, State Representative Amy Ellett, Senator Eric Harris, and the office of Governor J.B. Pritzker for their support during this time. Together we will overcome this obstacle and emerge stronger. I also like to thank all these wonderful department heads who are standing here behind me. They have provided me with so much support and insight regarding this incident, and they have lent their expertise and their knowledge, and it's just been a collaborative effort between all of our department heads, along with New Frontier Materials, Shepherd Morgan and Schwab. It's been a collaborative area of work that we have been doing to ensure that everything is done up to the standards which our citizens deserve. And I'd like to introduce them at this time. We have our Fire Chief, Chief Jesse Jemison, and then our
Tony Sukenik.
Yeah, the
Counsel for New Frontier.
Tony Sukenik, the Counsel for New Frontier, Mike Haynes, Park and Rec's Director, and Mike Clark, who is the CEO of New Frontier Materials, Justin Kleinschmidt with Shepherd Morgan and Schwab, and Debbie Dunlap, who is our comptroller. So at this time, I'd like to introduce the CEO of Frontier Materials, Mike Clark, and he will make a statement, and then we will open it up for questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I am Mike Clark, CEO of New Frontier Materials, which operates the limestone quarry here in Alton. Thank you for having me here today, and thank you, Mr. Mayor, for your leadership through this subsident event. As we all know, these situations are rare but complicated when they do occur, and it takes many resources and good leadership to get through them. Our team is working closely with the Mine Safety and Health Administration, and I will call it MSHA from now on. We're working with the City of Alton and also some outside geological consultants in our search for answers regarding the subsidence event that occurred here on June 26. In short, our investigation is ongoing, and there are no clear answers here in this cause yet. I know all of you are anxious to hear when the investigation will be completed, and the truth is we simply do not know at this time. I ask for your patience as we continue our work and proceed as quickly and safely as possible so that city can reopen the park. So let me offer a few remarks about the process. The mayor did a great job talking about the process on the day that the subsidence happened. Since that time, our mandate is to conduct an investigation using drilling, geographic studies, and engineering science to examine the impacted area, working closely along MSHA, which reviews our reports to ensure they approve of our process and our conclusions. While we don't know yet the cause for this unusual event, we do have decades-long history working in this mine by prior mine operators and believe it to be structurally sound. I can also say that our testing so far underground has yielded no surprises in terms of how the mine is operating or appearing and acting. Our work will result in an MSHA-approved work plan to remediate the impacted area. While I iterate that there are no timetables for completion, I can say that safety, as the mayor said, for the citizens of this community that use the park, as well as our hardworking employees who live here and work in our mine, is our top priority. So safety for both the community and then safety for our workers who are working underground every day. Again, I ask the community for patience with this process, and please know that we clearly understand the urgency necessary to get this done. The mayor again laid them out well this morning. That said, we can and must prioritize safety over all else. In closing, I'd like to thank our employees, most of which live right here in Alton and have worked at the mine for many years, for their hard work during this investigation, and also for the employees of the city of Alton who have been so helpful during this time. So again, with that, I thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Mike. So at this time, we'll take questions.
So I guess who's going to be in charge for paying for the repairs, and do you guys have any idea of what will go into actually repairing the sinkhole?
That would be an ongoing discussion between the legal counsel on both sides, on the city side and also on the Frontier Materials side. Thank you for that question. Yes, sir.
What is the status of mine operations right now, and what are the employees doing?
Right. I'll answer that if that's okay.
Yes.
Yeah, we ceased our underground mining operations. Thank you. We ceased our mining operations underground that morning. And although when MSHA came in, they opened up the whole rest of the mine that we could go ahead and operate because they inspected it. It looked fine, structurally sound, everything else. So, and they'd just been in here in May to look at it. So they opened it up, but we put all our resources on fixing or finding the problem. And that's what we've been doing since. So we have people doing some maintenance on the plants. We have our shipping yard is open for customers to come in, but at this point in time, we have not resumed operations yet. So anyway, that's kind of where we are.
Any layoffs of actual work?
Well, it won't be layoffs, so it'll just be temporary until we can start back up on the ground, which, we think, we'll just have to say that day by day.
Is it normal or best practice to have an active underground mine underneath this public park where people play and whatnot?
Justin Kleinsmith.
When you look at mines, in the state of Illinois, U.S., worldwide, there's mines underneath roadways, buildings, all kinds of features. So to have a mine underneath the park is not uncommon, what we've seen. So.
How far is the mine underneath the park? I mean, the foot, like is it 100 feet?
170 feet between where the top and where the ceiling is of the wall.
How far?
Into the park does it go? Does it go as far as Lloyd Hopkins Field or Spencer T. Olin? Is it?
It goes kind of where some of it's under the golf course, some of the
You need to get behind the microphone. We can't hear you. Sorry.
I'm sorry. Again, I appreciate you telling me that. It's under, obviously part of the golf course, the soccer fields, And then as you go back toward our operation as well, but that's kind of where it is right now.
A mine safety expert that I was talking to suggested that, while it may not be legally required, it may be a good idea for either the city or for you guys to publish a map and kind of what it would look like underneath the park so that the public could know. Is that something that you guys would be interested in the future?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of competitive information on those mine maps. We supply that to MSHA, and they review that, but that's not something you really want to send out to the public, so. But
Even after an event like this?
well, again, we share that with Justin and those people here that need to know and can take that information and make good decisions with it, so.
What can be done about, excuse my ignorance about the whole thing, but what can be done with this big hole now? I mean, what has been done in the past to other
You
locations?
can fill them up, obviously, but you want to understand what's around it, what caused it before you do any of that. So that's kind of the delay. You could fill it up tomorrow, but then you don't know really
Right.
why. I mean, that's sort of the issue with some of these sinkholes you see in Florida on the roadways. You know, they just come in, fill them up, and everybody's, you know, next day there's 200,000 cars on that road, and you wonder, did they really find out what caused the issue and fix that and then fill it in? So that's kind of what we're going to be working on, figuring out what the cause is. Yes, sir.
I think it was the mayor said that the initial investigation showed there was, what was it, an ancient cave?
I don't know what they're talking about because it's a new area. So it's what they basically came back and said it was anomaly. You know, it's
There was some kind of void there.
well, they don't know. That's what we've got to find out. We've been doing drilling. You don't want to go right up to the sinkhole and start drilling. So you got to march in, and that's what we're doing. We're marching in to see. We're doing drilling into the ceiling to see what's there, you know, and that sort of thing. But you got to make sure everything's good for your employees that are underground working, and so that's why it's a little bit slower than we would like it to be. But it's a process to get there, and we want to understand what caused it, because we haven't seen it anywhere else. So, and we're not seeing it now as we drill. So we want to keep going. So.
Something else, a county board member had mentioned this at a meeting they had. Is there any concern that you might have something that would cause the lake to drain?
Well, it's no concern that we have. I mean, obviously, you can keep all those kind of things in mind when you're mining underground. So,
So it's basically an isolated incident to that area?
that's right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are there any mines that are in the nearby area that you're concerned about, or any voids?
Say it, talk a little louder if you don't mind. I'm sorry.
Yes, sorry. Are there any other mines or voids in the area underground that you're worried about?
No, that's the point. There's a certain amount of limestone you need to have as your bench, and everything we've drilled so far shows we're 10 and 12 times what we need. So we're kind of, that's what the mystery is. We've got to get closer to that sinkhole to see what caused it and why. Was it a void? Was it lack of a depth of limestone? So that's what we're working on.
This one's from Mayor Goins. So there's been a lot of teams and organizations, events and stuff that's getting displaced. What's the city doing to kind of relocate a lot of those projects or games and events?
I'll let Mike Haynes, our Park and Rec Department Director, speak to that.
Yeah, sure. So we've been in touch with all of the different user groups, you know, whether it's athletic field users or pavilion rentals or, you know, weddings or anything like that. Each one individually we've been in discussion with since it began. And we've been, first and foremost, trying to make sure that they get done what they need to get done as far as getting somewhere else. Some of our neighboring communities have been amazing at helping and reaching out, offering up their facilities. You know, for example, adult softball has been able to play all their games at Wood River since this began, and Godfrey, Edwardsville, some of the other communities around us has been taking on some of these other rentals. So that's what, you know, we're trying to do the best we can without to not skip a beat, so to say. You know, to keep everybody getting their activities done and able to have their rentals elsewhere in other parks or in neighboring communities. So that's what we're doing.
Is there a timeline for fall activities that are coming up? 'Cause right
So-
now it's kind of in a lull, actually.
Yep.
There's not that much going on out there team-wise.
Right.
We're
We
talking
kind of are in between
a
summer
lot-
and
a
fall.
lot coming in the fall.
Right. So yeah, we've been thinking ahead, working with the user groups that we have out there in the fall, the Alton Renegades, the Irish, and then of course we got all of our rec programming. So yes, we have started discussions. Marquette High School obviously uses it for their home games. So we've been thinking about where else they can go that is, first and foremost safe and what makes sense for them, and for our rec programming as well. So yeah, we've been thinking about that.
I have a two-part question for you. Are you looking at this as an if it reopens or a when it reopens?
It's a win. It's going to reopen, but we don't know when. So we have to think, throughout the rest of the season, all the way through the fall right now. And we're trying to get in front of it as much as possible by reaching out to everybody that has reservations, frankly, all the way through October, November, to make sure they know what's going on. Most people know what's going on already, but we want to, be in communication with them as far as what we're hearing, whether their event or their tournaments or whatever may be in jeopardy.
Second part of that, do you anticipate an immediate return to the numbers that you were at before this, or do you think it may take some time to rebuild that confidence that the park is safe?
That's a good question. I think it's reasonable to think that there might be some temporary questioning of what's safe, what's not. So that's where we just need to be as upfront and transparent as possible. That we're relying on the experts, the geotechnical engineers, and everybody to let us know this is safe right here. We're still kind of looking at this area, but this is all very safe, and they're confident in putting anybody out there and certainly the city's not gonna jump the gun on putting anybody out there and risk, anything else happening before we know that it's safe by the experts.
I mean, that's a big property. How are you guys keeping like kids from wandering in on there? I mean, you can't have, or do you have police there 24/7?
So it is staffed 24/7 right now. Whether during the day we have our own, we have somebody at the front gate during the day at all times.
She was very polite, by the way.
Okay, good. That's good to hear. And then the PD has been helping out at night, doing working night shifts at the front gate. We leave the lights on the field so that we can see the area and make sure that no one's sneaking in from outside somewhere.
I mean, it's kind of a nightmare scenario, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean,
and is the hole itself fenced up?
Yeah, so I mean, I guess that's a good part about where it happened. Obviously, it stinks that it happened on our beautiful turf fields, but it is naturally fenced in. The turf fields are fenced in with gates and locks. There's a natural barrier around it already that we reinforced with signage and caution tape and whatnot.
Clarifying question for Mayor Goins, if you don't mind. When you're talking about, and I want to make sure that we're reporting the right information, the ancient mud buildup, and then of course Mark is talking about the investigation is still ongoing to what causes. Can you give us a couple more details about that mud, that ancient system?
Well, that was a preliminary report that we had received from Congresswoman Nikki Brzezinski's office during a meeting that we had on Thursday. And so that was a preliminary investigation, and so that's just where it stands right now. Obviously, there will be some more investigating, and there will be some more detailed information coming forward, and we will provide that information as soon as possible.
I have a question for Mike Haynes.
Okay.
It looks to be that the hole is growing in size because of the rain. Is there going to be an attempt to make sure that it doesn't continue to grow?
So I don't know if that's necessarily for me.
He's the expert.
When the event happened, think of a column of soil just dropping, created a void, straight up and down edges. Naturally, if you take dirt and you have straight up and down edges, it's going to want to slough off. So that's what it's doing right now. It's not getting any bigger underground, is what we're being told, but the sloughing of the sides we expected that to happen. It's going to continue to do that until it gets to a natural point where everything is stable on those edges.
Do you have an estimation of how much bigger it's gotten?
I haven't seen the latest the drone footage on it or measurements. I estimate it's probably grown twice the size of what it originally was from when it initially happened on the surface.
Its diameter.
Yeah, correct. And like I said, that was all things that it was going to do naturally. So nothing else caused for concern for that. So.
What other additional safety measures does the city or New Frontier want to see or want to do when you guys get it back up to where it was? Is there something else that you need?
Yeah. We are studying that right now as well. I mean, we've got a group that's looking underground, trying to figure out the cause of what caused it, but then we're also got another group looking at, what do we do in the future? Is there and there are things that we can figure out to do that would be very helpful in the future, but it's kind of like a two-pronged approach, but we really first want to find out the cause, but at the same time, we're trying to figure out those things as well. Good question. Thank you.
This is for Mike. Is there a lease with Marquette for use of that, or is it?
Wrong mic.
Oh, Mike. I'm
Sorry.
Is there a lease with Marquette for the use of that, or how does that handle with them?
Right.
So many of their teams play out.
Yeah, so no, there's not an actual lease agreement with Marquette. We work together for all of their sports that they can't have at their gym, pretty much, or at Gordonmore Park. So we work with them on scheduling. They kind of have a first right of refusal type thing that we work with, and getting their schedule out there, and they have set practice times each season. So
Have you been working with them to try and find another place, or are they on their own to do that? Or?
Initially, yes. Brian Hayner, who's the athletic director, and I, we spoke a few times pretty early on about it, and the one coming up the soonest is soccer season, and there's also fall tennis. And we've been talking about, I just recommend places that they could potentially go in the area, and then they kind of work that out on their own from there. So I know there's a couple different places that they've been looking at to host their fall games or matches.
Any more questions?
Yeah, I got a question. So will the desire to find out how this happened and get the part back, will that affect the process or the speed on which you find out what happened?
Well, the desire for me would have been to open the park yesterday, the day before, the week before, and everything else. But our goal, once again, is the safety of our residents and our citizens and our visitors who come to the park. And so we will be diligent in making sure that the experts get all the detailed information and do all their investigative work underneath the mine before we will reopen the park. But yes, there is a desire, because we know that a lot of people have been affected by this, groups and organizations and teams and whatnot, but we know that safety is the utmost importance, and that's one thing that the city, New Frontier Materials, and MSHA, we're all on the same page with that.
Is there any estimate as to how much income might be lost from these teams that are, these events that aren't allowed to take place?
There's varying amounts for the agreements, and like some of them are no agreements, So I think it's premature to really identify, it's been less than 30 days, very little loss of income at this time and very little increase in expenses.
What are the next few days of there in terms of investigation? What we might learn?
I'm sorry, what was that question?
What do the next few days look like in terms of investigation, what we might learn? Open the board.
Right. Our people worked over the 4th every day, and they continue to work. And like I said, right now, if we'd have been meeting, excuse me, in the park, our guys would have been right underneath where we were working or where we were talking. And so it's a slow process because MSHA is very methodical. You send them information of what you want to do. They look at it and they say, okay, well, we think you ought to do this, and this as well. They send it back to you. You have to incorporate it in your plan. You send it back to them. They approve it. So it is a slow process, but it is methodical, and it's all for safety reasons. So each day we learn more information because we're able to drill and move a little bit closer to the hole. Right now, like I said, we haven't seen anything that has told us that what the answer would be. Now, as we get closer and closer, which is, again, it's hard to determine how long it's going to take. Just because of each time you take a step, you got to get MSHA's approval. So, but as soon as we get the information, we give it to Justin here, who then looks at it, has comments, gets back with us, and then our people talk a lot, usually daily, but every other day, just to update them on where we are and what we're finding. So, yeah.
Just for clarification, who are the workers who are completing the drilling process? Are they the Bluff City miners?
Yeah, well, no, it's actually our director of operations, and then the superintendent at the quarry, as well as the assistant superintendent. They're doing the actual underground, as far as I know, underground drilling. The other guys are working on the plants. They're in the shipping area and those normal jobs. But
and how many other employees were employed at Bluff City Material before the collapse?
I would say, and I don't have it on top of my head, but say if there were 30 to 40, and probably 20 are still working right now over there on various different jobs. So.
And then those who aren't working, the 10 to 20, are they still getting paid?
Well, it's something we have to, our HR people are looking at that right now as well. There's just rules that you have to fall under different scenarios, so they're working on that. So.
Part of what Mike's team is doing is at the request of the city, where the collapse was in the soccer field. Part of the K order from MSHA did extend underneath the access roadway into the park, the main road in. So what we've been working with them on is trying to get the roadway cleared out to make sure that everything looks safe. MSHA has approved that area. Once that area is able to be cleared, then the hopes are that the park could reopen. So it could be the park is going to be able to reopen. Area around the sinkhole is going to be, blocked off or shut down for a more extended period of time. But that is something that trying to get the park open as soon as we can. So they're diligently working to clear that area underneath the roadway. So
You were talking about working at the outside and then working in on your drilling. Can you say how far out you started and how close to the sinkhole you are now?
Yeah, we started further out, the access road coming in. We started outside that area and working, is like Justin said, we're working through that area underneath the access road and moving toward the sinkhole. Now, I don't know exactly where we are right this minute, but that's where we started.
Would that be about 100 yards, at least 100 yards out?
You're better than you're more familiar than I am with it, but wherever the access road is, it's a little bit outside that area.
There are soccer fields on the north side of 140 also. Does it go underneath
No.
them that you know of?
Not on the road, huh?
And how far away are your drill holes? As you're working up to the hole, how Is it 2 feet, 3 feet? How far do you guys go each time?
Each time,
Yeah, I mean, how slow is the process gonna be from the
Yeah.
road to the hole?
boy.
You
Justin,
understand that?
Would you have any idea?
I mean, do you have to drill every 5 inches?
No,
No,
it would be feet, now, whether it's,
Yeah.
excuse me, whether it's 5 feet, 10 feet, whatever, it's, it's in feet, but what we do is, you have to, you scope it, once you drill it, then you gotta scope it, because the IMSHA wants to see what it looks like, they will, and our geologist, Justin, all of them wanna see what was in that hole. So we have to, scope, and you don't scope every hole, but you scope every third hole, whatever, those are kind of but the geologists are making those decisions along with IMSHA. They tell us how many they want to see, and so we do that.
Any more questions? Okay, well, that concludes. Thank you all.
Thank you all for attending. Thank you so much.